What is up, everybody? As you know, usually stream video games. A little different. That's alright. Because today's stream covers a topic that is not necessarily sensitive, but malleable, because it's still in the workings behind the scenes of what we don't know. So, today's topic that we're talking about is the future of Halo Esports. If you are anywhere in the realm of Halo Esports right now, you know pretty well that the scene is definitely not where it used to be. If you were anywhere from like a teenager to a young adult in the mid 2000s up to like 2015, you know where the Halo esports scene was. When MLG was hosting events, when it was on ESPN for events, when you had all these like great storylines that were formulated that were being played for a wide audience. When Halo was far and away one of the most popular games of all time, and this esports scene was thriving when esports itself was quite young. These days, when you think of shooter esports, you don't really think of Halo. You think of Call of Duty, you think of Apex, you think of even Fortnite, stuff like that. Halo is far and away from the glory that it used to hold. And that's quite disheartening to know, because we have seen where it can be, even with some of its weaker titles, such as the beginning of Halo 5 esports and stuff like that. So, I'm going to go through a quick rundown of the most recency of like Halo esports with Halo 5 and Halo 3, and then where it can go concerning Infinite. Because that's the part that I was here for the most. So actually, I'll be starting around Halo 2 Anniversary. So, as most people know, Halo 4 Esports wasn't really well received because the game's multiplayer was quite different. People compared it to Call of Duty, where you can make your own loadouts and go into the battlefield and stuff. So it never caught on a big esports scene. It had the invitational event that most people know about. You know, it's where people like Pistola and Ace made their name known. So, you know, people know about that stuff. But Halo 4 as a whole isn't really remembered for its esports scene, more so for its story. And then you come to Halo 2 Anniversary Esports, where we have a couple nice run events where we see the beginning of a new rivalry. We see the Evil Geniuses roster versus the CLG roster. These two teams have a history due to the players knowing each other, due to constantly meeting in these like grand showdown scenarios where they're, you know, literally seed 1, seed 2, grand final matchup or winners final matchup. One drops down and losers bracket, comes back into the grand finals. You know, you would have that fun back and forth rivalry between the two teams. And it was very entertaining to watch. And people did legitimately love to watch that stuff. And that's where it went on for, I don't recall how long the Halo 2 Anniversary scene lasted, but that was a decent amount of time. And it ended off with an event where Evil Geniuses was doing quite well for the remainder of the season and ended H2A with a good win on an event against CLG. Pardon me, but yeah, it ended off with a good win against CLG on H2A. And it was like a really good win for EG. They ended the Halo 2 Anniversary season strong. And then we went into the Halo 5 season, the beginning, where we had it into like seasons 1, season 2. EG continued their like dominance of H2A into H5. And it was still the same type of matchup, EG versus CLG. But you had some contenders, because you had other big orgs legitimately invest in Halo 5. Cloud9, Team Liquid, Optic Gaming, Team Allegiance. You had all these big teams actually invest time and effort into being known into Halo 5. But despite that, you still had the top two remain Evil Geniuses and Counter Logic Gaming, ironically. EG dominated the first season, won season 1, dominated the second season, won season 2. And then they went on to win the X Games gold medals, which was a big deal, like legitimately, since it was also aired on TV. And it was just, Halo Esports was still up there. There was decent viewership. It wasn't as high anymore compared to, say, at time League of Legends or Counter-Strike, but it was still there, which was a big difference. And like I said, people had this narrative of who's going to take down EG? Who's going to be the next big thing in Halo? Can Counter Logic Gaming do it? And for the longest, it didn't seem like it because they just weren't able to. And then all of a sudden, EG loses a member as Lethal, who then goes over to CLG, and that was right before the X Games tournament, yet EG still won. So it was like, who's going to take them down? Then suddenly, over the course of after season 2 of Halo 5 Esports, things start to degrade. EG's performance starts to decline pretty rapidly. Counter Logic Gaming is now the top team in the scene, with no one being able to beat them. And it flipped the narrative, which made it interesting to watch. Then all of a sudden, big boys at Optic come in and buy the CLG roster. So now you have a team that made itself legendary under CLG move over to an absolutely legendary name as Optic Gaming. It was just like, wow, Optic knows what they're doing. This is going to be a great thing for Optic to do, because Optic already had a roster in H5, but they were performing not exactly well, if we're just being honest, compared to some of the other teams. So having this star-studded roster that could hang with the other top teams and even dethrone them from time to time was a really good and big deal for Optic. And it turned out to be very well, because Optic went on to dominate events throughout the remainder of 2016 and through most of 2017, up until we hit DreamHack Atlanta 2017, which was around summer. And a team that's been playing from the lower bracket from another big org, known as Splice, comes in. Splice once again shakes the narrative of Halo 5 by being a team that wasn't necessarily supposed to win. They could make top 4, top 6, maybe even top 3, but they weren't supposed to be the guys that were going to be here and just dominate the H5 scene. They proved us wrong. Splice just came onto the scene at DreamHack, won against Optic Gaming, and then they went on to win almost every other event after that. It was becoming a Splice wins this, Splice wins that. And though it was nice to see the narrative shaken up again, like how we did see it shaken up with the CLG/Optic overthrowing EG, people weren't really here for the Splice versus Optic debate in Halo 5. People didn't like seeing Splice constantly win these game series back to back to back to back. People wanted to see Optic win, or they wanted to see Envy win, or Team Liquid win. For some reason, Splice never got that fan base that the other big teams had. People were even more annoyed that Splice was winning games in Halo 5 back to back to back compared to like when EG was winning games back to back to back, and same with Optic. So you start to see viewership drop. Obviously not the whole scene left, but there was less and less people watching Halo 5 Esports. And it wasn't just because of Splice winning games back to back, or even the other teams winning games back to back. It also had to do with production issues. Halo 5 Esports was largely managed by ESL, which for some odd reason didn't take care of the scene as they should have. ESL kind of saw other things more important, like when they hosted League of Legends events or when they hosted CSGO events. They put Halo 5 on the back burner. And because of that, you saw it bleed into the production, where there would be hours-long delays before matches, with just commentary and filler that kind of got stale. There would be just unimaginable glitches and stuff at events that were on ESL sides, not even on the game side. It was just, the management was poor. it was nice to have a schedule with ESL scheduling everything, but the production value overall was a big drop from when Halo was under MLG. And we really saw it hit during the 2017 World Championship, where Halo 5's World Championship was held at the ESL studios over in California, I believe. And it was just, people probably remember some of the photos where they were posting photos of tents and the balloons, welcome to Halo World Championship, and everyone was like, what? No, it wasn't that bad, because that was the overflow tent, but there shouldn't even be an overflow tent, by the way, for an esport this size. There should be a nice, decent sized area like a convention center to do this, but no, they hosted it at their pretty small arena, where I believe it held like maybe at most 100 people, and like 50 people in the main arena room where the pros were, and the other 50 in the overflow room. So it was more like of a Halo festival more than a world championship that you're here to play for a prize pool of $1 million. Two top teams, Optic Gaming versus Envy, playing at the time. Great series. Like, it is a legendary series on the Halo standards for their esports scene, but just the venue and production was dropped. It was bad, unfortunately, and I'm not sure why HCS didn't decide to move over from ESL more quickly than they did. I know that MLG was more with the COD scene at the time, but there was other producers that could have been willing to up the ante for Halo 5. So with the narratives and the production of H5, and then the reputation of the game was also drifting at the time, Halo 5 for its first year was received okay. You had fans that actually really loved the shakeup in mechanics, the adaptation away, like not away from Halo 4, but took some things from Halo 4 and made some of them better, made some of them worse. People say Halo 5 feels more like a classic Halo compared to H4, but it still has that bridge that has it be innovative, but there's a slight disconnect with the older community from H3 and before, and even some parts of Halo Reach and before. So the first year and a half of Halo 5 was alive because, you had a brand new game that was revolutionary and had consistent schedule drops for, new game modes, new maps, new weapons, and whatever. But it kind of suffered because lots of that stuff was focused on Warzone, and Warzone wasn't being played, obviously, for the esports scene. And if Warzone was even an esport, that would be kind of weird, if we're being honest. So that was also a big issue, as the community for Halo 5 fell off extremely quickly. Like, really, really quickly. A year and a half is not a good lifespan for a game. That's supposed to be a big, ground-shaking, worldwide AAA game. But that's not what happened. And with, like I said, the advent of Halo 5 losing its player-base population, esports behind the scenes technical difficulties with ESL and production and stuff, and then team narratives being, you have one team that wins every event, from EG to CLG/Optic/Tox, and then Splice. And there was no more storylines being built, because what storylines were you gonna build? Because now the big issue from the end of Halo 5, before it stopped being the main esports focus for a while, was big teams were leaving. Evil Geniuses left, Envy left, Liquid left, Cloud9 left, Optic left. All the big teams left besides Splice, which then ended up leaving later. And then Splice can't come back anyway because now they rebranded into Mad Lions and they're more focused on League of Legends now. And there's no reason for them to come back into Halo. All the big teams left. Then pros started leaving. You see pros go on to Call of Duty like Hook, temporarily like Frosty. You see pros go on to Apex Legends like Snipedown. And you don't see any of the big teams want to enter the Halo 5 scene because there was no reason to enter the scene. There was no viewership. 1,000 viewers for a grand final of a game that's supposed to be large is not good. Compare H5 Esports in its final year. It was a DreamHack Atlanta winter event in November, I believe it was either 18 or 19. Compare that event, which was supposed to be the big culmination goodbye of Halo 5, to the All-Stars event of Call of Duty that year. I think we know which game had a bigger pool despite not being received too well. Call of Duty. Halo 5 Esports was on its last legs, despite this being a last goodbye event to hype up people like, hey, this is it, and we're bringing back Halo 3 Esports by having a co-event with Halo 3 there. In-person attendance, great. You know, Major, you already know. In-person attendance was great. Online viewership, 18,000 viewers. Not bad. But for a scene that's supposed to, like I said, that's supposed to be large, not great either. But people were... Halo kind of just came and saw, hey, we see online that a decent amount of people want Halo 3 Esports back. So let's end off Halo 5 with a bang and have a H3 event with it at DreamHack Atlanta. And then, after that, we focus on Halo 3 with our new grassroots program, where we allow different community tournament organizers to have their own programs where pros can play, earn money, get seedings and whatever. And you're like, oh, this is a good idea. This is what Halo was during the MLG days almost. So come around the new year from that, we have the first grassroots event, which H3. We had a decent retro looking style stage. We had decent tournament organizers. We had not necessarily top teams, but top players play in it. And it was okay for the most part. But it dropped pretty quickly after that, as people started to realize this isn't getting any viewers. No one is watching. In-person attendance for Halo is always going to be great, but what about where you make the ad revenue, or where you sell merchandise? That's online. But how are you going to sell merchandise if no one is watching? 1,000 viewers watching a Halo 3 event in 2019 or 2020 is not good, especially if this is what you're trying to hold off on until Halo Infinite comes out. So the H3 events ended up dropping the ball pretty quickly. Some pros even didn't want to play Halo 3 anymore, because, despite it being a great game, it's old. Those in chat, hello, how are you guys doing? Glad to see you guys come by. But yeah, pros didn't want to see a game, didn't want to play a game this old anymore because they've had their fill of that game. That was a while ago. So then the scene ended up doing a split thing where you have Halo 5 Esports and Halo 3 Esports. You saw some pros refuse to play Halo 5 and some pros refuse to play Halo 3. Some played them both. So you went from there. Halo 5, I believe, actually still pulled higher viewership than Halo 3. The difference is that Halo themselves rarely, if ever, streamed either of those events. For some reason, despite there being almost a tournament every weekend with a great amount of pros on sometimes relatively known to not known teams, like Cloud9 was there, Sentinels is there. You have some teams that are well known in these events that are being played for a decent amount of money with pros on Halo 5, but they streamed those weekend tournaments, like today is a weekend tournament. They streamed those weekend tournaments, Halo themselves, on the HCS channel once. So you'd go by for weeks on ends without, say you're a casual viewer who watches Halo Esports and you only watch it when you see on Twitch or YouTube notification, Halo Esports or Halo is live streaming Halo Esports Championship Series, right? You're like, oh, let me go watch that. Or you see on Twitter, oh, let me go watch that. They posted a link. But no, Halo isn't even streaming it most of the time. The pros are streaming their own perspectives. Or you have some awesome community members, like Why Not Be Reckless, over here streaming it with his other guys that are trying to get, relatively known in the Halo scene and doing their own production with it. Because Halo isn't. And they know very well that there's still a decent amount of people that want to watch Halo Esports with decent production. But Halo doesn't want to do that for some reason. The esports scene, like I said, they're only streaming one game every 3 or 4 months now, even though there's a decent amount of tournaments happening each Saturday. How's my day going? It is going great, my good sir. Thank you for asking. I do appreciate it. How is your day going? But yeah, you have tournaments happening every weekend, yet Halo only streams one of those tournaments, and that is the end of the season tournament for that. The end of the split. That's the only one that they're streaming. And it's quite... Why? Keep your esports scene alive by delivering a decent amount of content for the viewers to watch. I want to see Halo Esports on the Halo channel. Other people want to see Halo Esports on the Halo channel. If you're not going to stream it on the Halo channel, why not host or co-stream one of the other streamers that are hosting these esports events for a Halo that you've scheduled and put out, and like I said, host it on your channel? If Louis or Why Not Be Reckless or any of the other guys are streaming one of the Halo esports events that are happening Saturday, like today's Saturday event, host it on the Halo channel, the official Halo channel that has a lot of followers. Let people see what Halo esports can be. Let people that are potentially going to get into the scene understand, what's going on, how the game plays, what game modes there are, learn about the teams that are in this, because like I said, Envy has a roster, Cloud9 has a roster, Sentinels has a roster. Those are big names. And those teams have big, well-known players that have history in the Halo scene. And some of them even have history in other scenes, like Frosty, with Call of Duty playing on, in Florida. The Mutineers and CDL. So, like, there are players. There's storylines. They can form storylines. And they have big teams. They have everything they need. They just need production. And they need to post it on the Halo channel. If Halo can't do it, let other streamers, like I said, stream it. And let the Halo channel host the stream. Co-host the stream. All the good stuff. That's where people can see, hey, at least Halo is doing something to keep us busy until Infinite comes by. You laid out a roadmap, but no one can watch it besides when you want to watch a singular pros perspective. And then with that, there's no commentary about what's going on, and you can only see that pros perspective. Just let the people have at least, even if it's a scuffed stream, the community's so small, they'll still watch it. I'll still watch it. Like, there needs to be more engagement with the Halo esports commissioners and stuff to allow at least the small community that is left now to be invested into the scene, and then potentially drag on other people to come and watch this scene. You heard roadmap, and my mind went to Main Street. No, not that roadmap. That roadmap will be posted later on in my Discord, and I better make more rewards. Hey, one day, my good sir, one day. But yeah, I'll post some more rewards later. But as I was saying, this stuff, Halo could do a decent amount right now to get people hyped for Halo Infinite. We're still on the last game, Halo 5, which is pulling more viewers than H3 when it goes to the esports scene. Do a Halo 5 roadmap, which they already have. Either let Halo Championship Series Esports stream it themselves, or let some of the other guys that are growing in the scene stream it, and let the HCS channel or the Halo channel on Twitch and YouTube host it or co-stream it. People are going to see the notification. Oh, Halo's live. What's going on? Halo has an esports scene. Wow, let's look at this. Let's see how good it is. That type of stuff. Big channel. You have a big Twitch channel and a big YouTube channel, and if you were to stream these events, someone is bound to see it. Not one person's going to see it. Not even 1,000 people are going to see it. It's going to be way more than that because they're like, "Why is Halo live?" And then advertise it. You have it on the HCS Twitter. Post it on also the Halo Twitter. Retweet when events are going live, but also stream all of those events. Every single one of those weekend events, you have a Twitch channel for Halo Esports. Stream it. If you can't stream it, host it. Now, going forward into Halo Infinite, Halo needs to be very clear with their team partner, since it appears that Halo will not be franchising like other scenes like not CSGO, but I think some portions of CSGO, League of Legends, and COD, most notably with Overwatch League, which allows teams to enter and exit as they please almost, since there's no franchising for Halo Esports. You have big teams that have signed up, like I said, Sentinels, Cloud9, Envy. Big teams that have their rosters that were supposed to be competing in Halo Infinite Esports right now. Game got delayed. Okay. Hopefully the teams knew about this delay before Halo announced it to the public. So what now when Halo Infinite rolls around? What is Halo going to provide to team owners, provide to the fan base? Halo needs to be clear with the team owners. Like they said on one of their Halo Waypoint posts, we have a roadmap. Okay. Now, lay down the roadmap. Tell us what's happening each and every month. What are we having? A year-long one season? Are we having splits like League of Legends with spring and summer splits? How many games are teams playing a week or a month? What are salaries going on? All sorts of stuff. What is going on with Halo Esports? And same with the fans. Lay down a roadmap for what is going on. When are streams going live? Is Halo going to be streaming every event? Who's going to be the tournament organizers for each event? Will it be the same tournament organizers with HCS moderating everything on their Twitch channel? Or will it be DreamHack is hosting one event, Face is hosting another event, MLG's hosting an event, all these guys? Are we going to have it really split and fragmented, or are we going to have it all concrete into one place? With great production, with great casting, great analysts, all the stuff that you want in an esports scene. And get the fans involved. Do like how you had in Halo 5. Rec pack giveaways when you would watch and redeem it in game. Skins that you can either get by watching a certain amount of hours, and then you redeem it in game, and then also be able to buy in-game skins like you did for Halo 5 for teams that you like. I want an AR skin for Evil Geniuses. I get an AR skin for Evil Geniuses. Or even Spartan skins. The child has been held in his house for way too long. Which child? Oh, my child. My bad. When they say child, they mean my game. So do not get that mixed up, please. So, there's that. But yeah. Do something for both the organizers that they can have trust in the future of Halo Esports, while also catering to the fan base, where fan base has a reason to come back and watch. Oh, if it's to come back and watch to unlock special skins or double XP, cool. If it's to come back to watch these new rivalries and storylines that needs to be forged between teams, cool. Have legit events. Get the community involved. Have a waypoint hub in Halo Infinite where you can go see match times, where you can go see team profiles, stuff like that. Get the community involved, which is something that they can do, something that they've tried to do, something that they've pulled off relatively okay in the past. Right now, no, not even close. They haven't gotten even close to pulling that off recently. But in the past, they have. It's been there. So, the future for Halo Infinite can be bright if they go in the right direction. That's the thing. If they go in the right direction, follow some of the things I stated, look at some other esports scenes, see what they're doing, yes, things can go absolutely perfectly. Things can go where Halo, it may not be the top esport to watch anymore, but at least it can hang with other esports. It can grow. People saw how Rocket League grew. They saw how Rainbow Six grew from being a game that was relatively unknown to being, at one moment, up there with the giants of League of Legends, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and then unfortunately it dropped again. If Halo can do the first and second step, or even just the second step of being up there and able to hang without dropping, that'd be great. That's what we were hoping for. We want Halo to be relevant again. That requires a good game, a game that's taken care of, a constant esports scene, communication between team owners, engagement with fans, listening to fan criticism. All the stuff that you need. You need to be open, need to be honest, need to be straightforward, and don't be radio silent for half a year where no one cares anymore. Okay? There needs to be updates. Even if you give us the minimalist of updates, at least there is an update. And give us waypoint updates with video updates. Something that people love? How League of Legends and how Overwatch has developer updates or esports updates where the commissioner or the developer sits down in front of a camera like what I'm doing right now. And they talk to you about, hello, welcome to the Overwatch update for patch 4.9, where we will be discussing this, this, and that. People like to watch that. Come down. Hello, I'm the commissioner of Halo Esports. My name is blah blah blah. And today on the Halo Esports development update, we are talking about match integrity, or player engagement, or fan base engagement. Have a nice monthly, or even if you have to, weekly update where they can talk and, communicate with the community. I know something about updates. Yeah, I sure do. Look at my Discord. But yeah, have something where they can sit down and talk directly to the community. The monthly waypoint posts are great, but attach a video to it. 5 minutes long, 2 minutes long, where we get something new that we didn't know before. That'd be nice, because at least you're communicating with the community. That's something that Halo has been lacking for an excruciating long time, if I'm being honest. It'd be nice for the esports scene and the developers for Infinite to talk to, legitimately just sit down and have a nice chat with the community, because this game is supposed to last. It is called Halo Infinite after all, which means they can't do what they're doing now with the radio silence. Yes, you want to surprise us, but no one's gonna care if they don't know what's going on. We need to have something. There needs to be something. It's like when you're running for an election. I say I'm going to run for an election. I'm going to run for president of the United States under this and that party. That's all I say. People aren't going to vote for me. They might know my name. They might know what I look like. But why vote for me? I didn't say anything. Halo Infinite. We're coming out 2021. People know the name Halo. People know the name Halo Infinite. They know the Master Chief. They know that it's a continuation of the story of Halo. But why should I play this continuation of the story of Halo after how let down the story of the previous game was? Or the gameplay, how it was divisive. They gave us peeks with trailers and gameplay. But how long ago was that? It was a decent amount of time of when that occurred. Monthly post, the first one was pretty vague, unfortunately. We got some decent info, but it wasn't mouth-watering info. Same with the esports scene. We got some info, but it wasn't mouth-watering info where we are excited. That did not occur. We need something big, groundbreaking, shaking that is going to rile up the community. Like when I make a game, you need to say something that's going to be like, wow, I need to play this game, or wow, I need to watch this. Because I am excited. It's like what movies, when they release trailers or give like interviews about something, you're like, wow, I need to see this. Halo needs to figure that out. Look at other scenes. I recommend, since you're a shooter game, clearly look at the Call of Duty scene. What is COD doing right? What is COD doing wrong? Look at the Overwatch scene. What is Overwatch doing right? What is Overwatch doing wrong? If you want to go big, look at what League of Legends is doing. What is League, a game that is 10 years old, doing right? Why are they still extremely relevant, and why are they still growing each and every single freaking year? That's what you need to see.